Hello and welcome to the Collective Consciousness Podcast. I am your host, Natalia. I am an intuitive tarot reader, psychic medium, certified life coach, and Reiki master. You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Safe Space with Natalia. I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Talia. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing super well. Hello, everyone. My name is Talia. I am a psychic medium and spiritual advisor. You can find me. My handle is Doors to Healing Intuitive on TikTok and Instagram, my website as well. How are you doing today?
I am so good. Thank you so much for asking. How has your day been?
Today has been absolutely beautiful. I'm feeling like after this crazy Mercury retrograde, full moon in Cancer, things are finally leveling out, but I know that a lot of people in the collective right now are still feeling that intensity.
Yes, and that includes me. So I'm just really excited to get to talking today and let this beautiful energy out. So without further ado, I would love if you led us with a beautiful breath.
Absolutely. So I'm going to come to center. We can even put our hand on our hearts. Take a deep breath all the way to the bottom of our stomach. And let it out all the way. Finding our center and our ground, clearing our mind, and setting our intention. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So I know that in the previous episode, we talked about the pre-awakening ego. So I would love to now dive into your post-awakening ego experience. And even if you could just touch upon a little bit right before the post-awakening ego, how your life looked like, spill the tea on that, if you wouldn't mind.
I would love to spill the tea. So let's start out what happens kind of during your initial spiritual awakening. So you get a little bit of a shakeup. Obviously, you know, your kind of whole life and reality crashes around you and you have to regain your sense of self and find your bearings and, you know, try and make sense of everything. And during this process, I feel like your ego takes quite a hit. Some people more of a positive, some people more negative, right? And I feel like when you're going through this dark night of the soul, so dark night of the soul is, of course, after you have your spiritual awakening, everything comes up to the surface. You feel very deep, heavy, intense emotions, and you're processing deeper aspects of yourself than ever before. While you are doing this, your ego, it comes up for the first time and says, "Hey guys, how are you? How are you doing?" And it kind of raises its hand and it separates from your higher self. And all of a sudden you're sitting with yourself and you're looking, you say, okay, wait, there's my higher self and there's my ego. So Natalia, getting into ego versus higher self, do you want to touch on the difference between those two aspects and how you can better define what a higher self is and what an ego is? Because I know we talked a lot about ego in the prior episodes, but this is our first time really talking about higher self.
Yes, beautiful question. So to me, to put it out in simple terms, higher self means a place coming from a place of unconditional love, like a connection to source, universe, God, whatever you want to call it. It comes from a place of purity. It's again connecting to your intuition, what your soul is telling you, what's calling your name. Like this also has a lot to do with, you know, when people are saying they're searching for their dharma, which means, you know, finding your soul purpose. This is again all connected to your higher self. What is that inner voice telling you when, let's say, you're in danger and like your body is trying to save you or protect you? That's all coming from a place of love and wanting to kind of steer you on the right path. In comparison to ego is, you know, it's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of wanting to stick to what's familiar. And again, like you mentioned so many times, it shapeshifts in so many different forms and you never really know what you're going to get. So ego, like you often feel very unsteady, like you're on steady ground and you don't know where you're going to go next, where how yourself, you will notice that within your body you feel calm, you feel peace, you feel good.
All right, so Nat, I kind of want to touch on the fact that we can have multiple awakenings because it's hard to keep up sometimes. We're always advancing, always growing, always evolving. And a lot of the times, for me personally, I didn't even realize that you could have more than one and that you continued to have them along your journey and your evolution. How does that affect you as well? How is your experience with that?
Yes, so definitely, the first initial spiritual awakening is already so overwhelming all on its own, and that kind of uncovers so many different layers. And you come to a point where you reach some sort of understanding or knowing, okay, I have this awakening right now. So I kind of understand that I'm going on this path. What you don't realize is that you're going to have multiple dark nights of the soul. You're going to have multiple ego deaths along the process. Having said that, I recently just went through yet another one over this past week. And it's something that it's always going to surprise you and catch you by surprise, because it's like the more you know, the less you realize there's so much more out there. There's so many pieces and layers in you and about you. And especially when you're starting off, you just want to jump right in, and you have it's like this fast forward button where you're just like, okay, I have this pre-awakening. Let me just go ham on it. Let me see what else I can learn. Let me gain all this knowledge. And then you feel all like mighty and powerful and like, yeah, I have all the answers. And then life's like, yeah, so you thought. And then you're like knocked down to the ground, and you just continuously like get your bum up and continue going. And it's all a part of the process. And it's like everything in your life is just shown to you in divine timing, and we don't know it yet. There's so many times where I hear people say, oh, if I was younger, but with my knowledge now, I would have known better. But it's like there's a divine reason for each and every part in our journey, because we don't understand that for some of us, it can be too much to handle, So it's again, slow and steady wins the race. And I feel like that's something that I just over this past week really had to learn.
So Natalia, do you want to define what awake means to you?
I would love to. To me, I think it just means when you get that green light and that intuitive knowing that my life's purpose is bigger than I ever dreamed of or even thought of. And I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this. It's just this moment where you're like, oh my goodness, this identity that I've attached to myself no longer serves me anymore. And I know that there's new pieces of me, new parts of me that need to be discovered. And I am here to do it. And that's like your initial green light where you're so excited and you just want to jump right in, and you have these beautiful experiences, and you start to read books, watch videos, watch YouTube videos, and you just want to dive right into it. That's how it looked like for me, at least. Did you want to touch on how it looked like for you?
I'd say my purpose and my reason was really, really similar to you. I felt my brain turned into a sponge. I was feeding off of everything I could learn around me, diving into the deeper meaning of everything and within myself. And I found after a while, it kind of turned into a little bit of a black hole, a little loophole, but it would be like I would go out in public and I would psychoanalyze everyone around me and try to understand them. And I would, try and understand why we do things this way in society, why we do things that way. Basically, the programming and what we are guided into through birth, through education, through family lines. And it's like breaking off of that and thinking, you know what? It doesn't have to be this way, does it? Right? So absolutely. How about you?
So I completely love exactly what you said, because I absolutely did the same thing. And I think, again, for me, it was all about, I naturally, it's in my nature to want to tell people how to live their life. Like, I am a Virgo from head to toe. So I think I know the answers for everybody. And when I don't, and that was like a hard lesson for me to learn. And again, it's something that I continue to learn as I go. But again, this goes hand in hand with the spiritual bypassing. Like, oh, I've had this awakening. Let me show you how good life can be. Meanwhile, I didn't even understand because I was just at the beginning. So I thought I had all the answers. And again, it was me not respecting people and where they are in their journey, because everyone has a different journey that they're on, and not, your journey is going to look different from mine, and it's about holding space for that person. And that all stemmed from me not being able to hold space for me. So spiritual bypassing was a big thing for me. And it had to do with me. It was a lesson that I needed to really integrate in myself, this lesson of unconditional love for myself, no matter where I am, no matter what lessons I'm learning at the moment, just holding that space for me, which then I was able to respect people and their journeys, no matter what their journeys looked like. Did you have any similar experiences with spiritual bypassing? How did that influence your journey?
Spiritual bypassing took over a good portion of the first few months of my spiritual journey. And you know what? No, it took over way more than that. Way more than that. And yes, definitely pushing my beliefs on others, trying to make people understand. It's like you want to just shake people and think, wake up, wake up. And this is something that, you look back on now and you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? Like, why did I not just let them live? Why did I not wait for their time? Because no one can force you to wake up. You have to wake up when you are divinely ready. So yes, that was a huge aspect of my journey that I think I definitely understood after a while, after I found my grounding and I understood and I went through my lessons of, what, doesn't have to be like this. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to stop being so forceful, and I'm going to work on why I felt the need to do that in the first place. My intentions were pure, but it came off very abrasive, and it came off from that spiritual ego, right? Now, spiritual bypassing, like you said, goes hand in hand. I would bypass my emotions. I would bypass anything that was, I'm going to say it, the high vibe, low vibe. So I didn't want to be sitting in this pit of sadness, anger, and resentment, which, yes, these are human emotions and we don't want to sit in them for too long, but we still have to feel them, embody them, embrace them, and let them go, right? But instead, I would let them sit and linger, and they would eventually get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? All of my trauma, all of my insecurities, my fears, my past, everything was stored inside of me because I was too busy sharing with the world and too busy gaining all this knowledge that I wasn't clearing and I wasn't understanding and healing myself. And that's where my bypassing came in. And like you said, hand and hand. Yeah. Did you do that?
Oh my gosh, do I ever. As you were speaking, I was nodding my head because this just goes hand in hand with toxic positivity, which I did the absolute same. I was like, no, we're only doing positive vibes here. We're happy, 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 happy. So as I was saying, I tried to bypass all of my emotions, and then it dawned on me through one of my dark nights of the soul where there is gray area in this life and not everything is going to be hunky-dory, and sometimes giving myself the space and the time to just feel my emotions, no matter how heavy they are. That's the only way through it, and just giving myself the time to take a break, take space, because I'm a go-getter and I find difficulty in just taking space for me. How does that look like for you, Tal?
Taking space, I get that because I used to bypass also by overworking myself. So I would be busy, doing on that grind, getting that business going, getting things expanding, getting my life in order. making the money. I was obsessed with growth, expansion, and I didn't understand that it was okay to just rest and rejuvenate and to heal. We go through periods of life like a dark night of the soul where you just need to take a step back and, for the love of God, look within and feel fully, release it, let it go, right? I think that it's so important to find that balance and that duality as early on as you can. Everyone is on their own spot on their journey. We all make mistakes and we all learn and go through it differently. But these are all things that are so natural and so normal that there's a lot of shame around. So we're talking about it today so we can embrace it and understand that, we're evolving every single day. You learn from it, you grow from it, and if anything, it taught us way more.
So if you are going through it and feeling heavy feelings, let yourself feel and don't be scared to take space, because you are this beautiful light in this world and you deserve to take time for yourself. Thank you so much, Talia, for today's episode. I can't wait to dive deeper into the post-awakening ego in our next episode. It is always such a pleasure and honor talking to you. Again, I am Natalia from @SafeSpaceWithNatalia. You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok. And I will now leave it all up to you, Tal.
Thank you so much, Natalia. Today has been so beautiful. I think that every day we talk, we just find more and more about ourselves. This is healing, this is taking accountability, and this is forgiving and loving ourselves unconditionally on this crazy journey that is Earth. So without further ado, my name is Talia, once again, from Doors to Healing Intuitive on TikTok, Instagram, and on my website. I can't wait to talk to you guys next time. Everyone, have a beautiful week. Regenerate. Give yourself a lot of love. We love you and have a beautiful rest of your day.